Alright, hi everybody. We're getting ready to go for another little flight. Have some thunderstorms forecast to be moving in later on this evening, so we want to get into flight before that. So let's go on another little trip down through memory lane. And full disclaimer, this is not flight instruction. I'm not a flight instructor. I am simply a guy that wants to share my passion and love for general aviation, especially for a lot of just the old school type of stick and rudder flying. That's why you see me flying tail draggers quite a bit. What I'm flying in today is a Luscombe 8A, manufactured in 1945. Now as I approach runway threshold, I'm going to carve out some of this video because I got to go through checklists and things like that before takeoff. Alright, getting ready to depart now on runway 33. We've got a bit of crosswind, and so here we go. Now, if you hear some background noise, that's just simply because I've got the window open in Luscombe. Otherwise, it gets mighty, mighty uncomfortable here. I'm going to be departing the pattern out to the north and take you through a part of central Iowa that is around Knoxville, in the south central part of the state, show you one of our biggest lakes, which is Lake Red Rock, and take you down the Des Moines River a little bit. I hope you like these videos. If you do, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. It's a nice day today, although it is hot. Current temperature is about 90 degrees, and the current density altitude for those pilots out there is 3,650 feet. Winds have been shifting around a little bit. Earlier they were out of the south when I first got here to the airport, south-southwest. Now they've become more out of the northwest. And with a frontal passage, it tends to get a little bit bumpy, plus I'm flying in the middle of the day when we've got kind of like the maximum thermal action going on from the heating of the ground and that. But every day to fly is a beautiful day to fly. So I'm passing over some of my old stomping grounds. Used to do a lot of hunting up here. Gonna quick diversion. Don't know if you can see a railroad bridge down there, but I used to hunt for deer way back in the day. Used to do bow hunting with a good old school buddy of mine in that patch timber there. His family had a farm there for, oh my goodness, probably close to 40 years. Really nice people. Your view currently is to the northwest because I'm going to loop up here towards a town called Pleasantville, Iowa. And once we get up here, we're going to start moving down Lake Red Rock and show you a little bit about what it's like. Woo, got a nice little bump there. Up ahead at the 11 o'clock position is the city of Pleasantville, Iowa. It really hasn't changed all that much over the years. They still have a great pizza shop up on the town square, so if you're ever driving through, You ought to stop by and do yourself a favor and have a good pizza. Boy, the rise in the sink from the air being unstable is really pronounced today, which is one of the advantages to the Luscombe is the Luscombe does not have much in the way of dihedral, meaning that the wings are essentially flat. You don't see a V shape to the wings like you do in say something like an air coupe as an example. So even though you're feeling the bumps and everything, you've got really great control. Alright, going to turn to the right now and head towards what we call the bottoms of Lake Red Rock. Tally-ho. What you're seeing up ahead is the Des Moines River Valley, except this area, when it floods, is covered with water, especially in between the gap that you see in the road. That road used to extend completely north-south, but Lake Red Rock, when it gets completely full and up to flood level, that's all water. But this does allow you a glimpse of what the old river route used to be like, with the oxbows and the original river channel exposed. They used to have a big problem, and they still do, with erosion on the riverbanks. And so when I was a kid, just further to the left, up by Swan, Iowa, they actually put some old railroad cars in on one of these oxbows to try to slow down soil erosion. And that was always a great place to go fishing for channel cat. So there you can see part of the old original river channel system for the Des Moines River. We're in the middle of a drought right now. Normally this area is not so exposed. But here in just about a minute or so, I'm going to do a 90-degree turn to the right, which takes us up into the head portion of Lake Red Rock. This view is looking east-southeast, and there's Lake Red Rock. You can see the mile-long bridge in the distance, and even farther, if the camera has enough resolution, you'd be able to see the Red Rock Dam. Now, it's still kind of hazy out today, and the reason for that is we're still getting dust from the California wildfires all the way here to Iowa.
Traffic, Cherokee 3175 Quebec, downwind for 130.
Now, just before the mile-long bridge, when I was a kid and we crossed this when it was first built, directly off the nose was the old town of Red Rock, and you could still see the foundations of the houses and the streets right off the nose before you got to the bridge. So that right there was actually Red Rock, and that was why this was called the Red Rock Reservoir. But even though the lake looks pretty docile at the moment, it looks calm. When the winds pick up, this lake is brutal to be out on because there's enough of it to catch the winds, especially out of either the southeast or the northwest, that you get really rough water and you get white caps on the waves. Nothing like the ocean, but still, it can turn nasty in a heartbeat. This little peninsula that is at the 1 o'clock position. Used to be where the town of Coalport, Iowa was located. And Coalport means exactly what it was. It was a port, a portage area on the river, along with the railroad tracks for delivering coal from this area downstream and upstream on the Des Moines River. And directly ahead of us is the Red Rock Dam itself. Over on the right-hand side, that was called South Overlook, and my dad would take me out here when I was a kid, and they were building it because I loved watching the earth moving, bulldozers, the large grading machines, the trucks, everything. So this was a real active place back, especially in the early 1960s. All right, immediately below the Red Rock Dam, you're going to see some bridges and some remains of bridges. Some of them were railroad bridges, and others were bridges for vehicle traffic. I remember one of them here that it's washed out. You can only see about half the span now. That would be the second bridge beyond the Red Rock Dam. And on that one, it was just single lane traffic for cars, and everybody had to be courteous, and you had to wait to turn. So like I was saying, in order to cross this second bridge, which you only see the left half of it there remaining, that was taken out during the floods of 1993, you actually had to wait your turn for anybody that was already crossing the bridge. So common courtesy and respect was something that was the norm back then. And right now it gets a little bit bumpy as we're coming across the Red Rock Dam, and that's just simply because of the air currents lifting up over the dam and giving us a bit of wave lift. So now we're going to continue downstream on the Des Moines River and just show you what it looks like. As most rivers do, as they age, you have rivers that begin winding back and forth, but you develop oxbows, and there's kind of remnants of them. One is over here on my left side, one you can barely make out at about the 1 to 2 o'clock position. But when a river floods, it'll tend to cut itself a new channel, and it will orphan the oxbows, but it will destroy everything as it's going and as nature's taking its course. Water is definitely something to be respected. Just like with flying, you can't take flying for granted. You can't take flying something like this for granted. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. While I think the Luscombe is an excellent airplane, right there was a perfect example. There was a lot of turbulence that I just had from thermals, and you just have to be able to make your corrections on it, because this airplane will essentially react immediately to wind. So you have to fly this thing from the moment that you're taxiing until you've actually stopped it. As active as the turbulence is today, it's kind of a harbinger of things to come, which will be thunderstorms later on today. Probably getting closer to, I'd say, the 4 or 6 o'clock hour. At least that was the forecast and the flight briefing that I got. But just based off of experience, I'd say that they're pretty accurate. So this is what the Des Moines River looks like from basically the headwaters of Red Rock, north of Pleasantville, Iowa, to southeast of Tracy. Immediately east is the city of Oskaloosa, and if I continue down the river long enough, I'm going to run into Eddyville, Iowa, Ottumwa, Iowa, and then end up at the mighty Mississippi. But we're not going to go that far today. And as you can see, there's farmers that have been out, they've been active. Unfortunately, some of it is not of really their own choosing, because we had a derecho, a extremely severe thunderstorm come through, and it took down a lot of crops. Did billions of dollars of damage to corn crops here in Iowa. And far off here in the distance, I'm going to put it off the nose, hopefully you can see it. That's one of the smokestacks from a plant down at Eddyville. So anyway, folks, I hope that you've enjoyed your trip down the Des Moines River. And for anybody that has ever thought about becoming a pilot or getting a career in aviation, I would strongly suggest that you check it out. Get some information, go to your local airport, talk to your local fixed base operator, chat with a flight instructor, check out the job market, see what's out there. A lot of different ways that you can be involved in aviation these days. One of them is the need for aircraft mechanics to work on everything from this Luscombe to commercial jets and helicopters. And of course, there is a pilot shortage going on in commercial circles. Alright, so now I've turned back around to the northwest, and you see Lake Red Rock, which is where we came from.